And we're back here with Uncle Lou. Don't forget, live on YouTube every Thursday at 9 o'clock is when Lou comes in as well. So come and join us out there and see if you miss it. Well, we put it out, of course, on demand, part 1 and part 2 of the show there on YouTube as well. And then there's a special interview section that, is just the Lou part of it. There we put it out on social media. So make sure you follow us. Big fight card this weekend. But, Lou, we got to talk about last weekend. I'm sitting there following Twitter last week, and I had to go to a function and to a movie to support a friend of ours and stuff. So I wasn't able to watch the fight live, but I was following Twitter afterwards. And it looks like you had a good weekend there with the fight card.
Yeah, it's nice. I would say that when we got to middle of May, I was down about 13 or 14 units. And I didn't show it or voice it, although it might have come out. I wasn't very happy with that result. I don't think that's ever happened to me before, to dig such a hole so early, especially the way I go, just unit by unit. However, since then, it's gone totally the other way, and we're about a unit away from equilibrium here now. And the last few events have gone really good. This one was also good. It was good because we used the points a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's hard for people to get their arms wrapped around it, but I think you got to kind of just trust me. With fights that go to a decision, if you got a live dog that wins a round, but just he fights and loses a split decision or even unanimous 29-28, that's a total of 3 points. And if you're getting 3.5, you sit really well. Now, you give away some price, but it's a really, really salty way to go. We win 2 bets doing that.
Yeah, one of them, by the way, the Miranda Sousa fight,
Yeah.
unanimous decision. Because that's what I think on points. I'm like, all right, it has to be a split decision, but you can win those points on unanimous decisions, like you just explained.
As long as
and
each
stuff.
ref, as long as it's 29-28 on 3. If 2 guys got 29-28 and some bozos got 30-27. Now you have a 5 point, and you're only getting 3.5. You're a loser. So basically, well, then you're thinking, wow, you're counting on judging? Right, I am. I'm counting on it being all screwed up, and that's why you're going to get a lot of 29-28s, and I think that's why I'm eager to use the points when they benefit me.
And your other one on the points was the Pat and Asplund fight, I believe, correct?
That's right. Asplund, this big, huge giant. And
another unanimous decision, just
right,
for people
2
know.
polar bears slow dancing at the prom, man. All these 2 dudes did is just roll around. And that one was a fun one because with Pat, we were getting 5.5 points because they just thought Asplund was going to go out and knock him out. If you looked at Pat, 6'5", chiseled Brazilian, it was there to win. Nobody was knocking that dude out that day. And so that one goes to a decision that looks like 29-28. And afterwards, Asplund's like, who's making these lines? This is crazy, because he knew the guy was a bad hombre. So anyway, that's another one that we get. Now we lose one with Amanda Lemos.
Yeah.
And you know what? Thainara was mean. She was strong, she was young, she was fast, and Lemos gave me every effort I feel like I deserved from her. She let it all hang out. She just wasn't good enough that day against Thainara. I live with that unit loss, and we move right on to the next rodeo.
Those are kind of ones you can live with, right? When the
if
when
I
the
get
dog
the
is
girl
fighting
to fight
hard.
for me, she did. She was trying to win the fight from bell to bell. The other girl was just better. I miss them. Unfortunately, I'd love to tell you guys I'm 99%.
Wouldn't we all?
I'd need tomorrow's sports page to be 95%. So 99 is really hard.
I don't think I'd be sitting here if I was 99% on that. So the main card went, Sal Keeld. I saw a lot of talk after that fight of people saying, what a shocker. The UFC wants him to win. It was a setup fight for him. Almost like there was a lot of disappointment is kind of how I was reading it. First round submission for Sal Keeld in this fight. You talked about it last week, that obviously the UFC really likes him and things to that effect. You had him big in this fight as well with a couple bets there. First round submission. Does it change your mind about him at all, the way he did that fight? For his next fight?
I went back and forth on that fight all week long. Then I heard late information. Gamrot's camp was stunned they were an underdog, blah, blah, blah. Fortunately, we had early on. And when I make a release to my people, I don't change up and now do something else. But I was nervous about this fight and Gamrot. I can tell you, there's no way I thought it would end other than decision. So clearly I didn't see a first round finish. So Salkild's skill and strength surprised me. That said, we were paid on two different parlays. We were paid on one parlay that we had into Salkild, which cashed. Now we also have Salkild into, I think it's Mackenzie Dern this week, in another parlay that we'll talk about when we get to this week.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Meta Apex fight, like I said, I kind of I watched it after the fact. I knew what kind of happened. And that's one thing I'll give the UFC credit for. These Apex fights, they've stepped up the Apex fights this year, being on Paramount compared to past years.
Well, you're seeing way more crowd because they expanded the facility. And so there's I think they get 2,500 people in there now, which can make noise. Before they had 300 or 400 seats.
You could hear everything happening.
Yeah, so
that used to be my favorite thing when a corner would be like, hit him this way. It's like, well, that guy can hear you too.
My buddies tell me going to an Apex card is funner than heck.
Oh, I imagine so.
And Glendale's having a fight here
September 12th,
in a few weeks,
coming up. And they're adding to that card left and right. Yeah, they're adding to that card. And there's some names, there's some bangers on that fight. We talked about it last week.
Yeah.
We'll update that as we go on. But I want to get into this week's, of course, UFC 330 here from Philadelphia coming up this weekend. 6 p.m. main card coming up here as well. Early prelims start at 2:30 p.m. Here as well. Rafael Tobias looks, at least on my sheet here, is the last early prelim fight against a shadowy guy there, so I'm not sure if that's an add-on or something else. Any of these early prelim fights, anything to pay attention to here, Lou, for UFC 330?
Yeah, Fernando and Tobias is a due diligence fight, which means I watch and learn.
Light heavyweight.
Take notes.
Yeah.
And you have a decent favored in Fernando.
290 right now.
Then you go to the other early prelim. This one's interesting. Oralbai from Kazakhstan ships in to fight a guy from Philly. The only Philly fighter on the card, and the fight card's in Philly, Jeremiah Wells. But Wells is 39, Oralbai 28, and a meat-grinding Russian vice grip. He's going to go out and just get all over Wells and try and dominate him with his wrestling. It'll be interesting how Wells reacts. If he can try and keep distance and strike with Oralbai, I think he has the power to hurt him. But this Oralbai is a clear favorite, and his number is ridiculous.
Minus 1,050 right now.
Okay.
Was he the one? He just beat oh my gosh, I had his name. Curtis. Wasn't that his last fight? Was Curtis?
I'm not sure.
There, and he fought him and everything.
He won his last fight.
He did win it.
That. Yeah, then the other early prelim is Bramaj, a tough Texan, against Neil Magny, 39-year-old. Bramaj will be 6 years the younger man, and that means something in this fight. But this is the only fight lined as close to a pick'em, and I think if Magny can manage to get this into the second or third round, he has a great chance. But Bramaj early is a submission guy, and Magny's been subbed, so that's interesting. I mean, if you had a gun to my head, I'd say take Bramaj via sub and Magny via decision, and each one of those is plus money. You might end up with a little bit of profit. That said, that's not a bet I would make. It's too closely lined.
Yeah.
They're old fighters. Magny can sometimes do it, and I'm not interested.
Over-under's 2.5 in that fight, minus 145 to the under, by the way, in that fight right now. So it's favoring this fight ending early. At least the numbers are telling us this fight's ending early as well on that. Now, Lou, I saw you post this a week ago, 2 weeks ago now. I saw you post it again here. Trazion Gore in this next fight here in the prelim fights on this one against Vicente Luque here coming up, Brazil, United States. Tell us about this fight.
Luque's moved up to 185 from 170. This fight opened with Luque as as a favorite, he was minus 155.
Ooh.
Now Gore is a favorite at minus 120 to
122 right now on DraftKings.
Yeah. So, but you can get him at 128 at FanDuel. So, or at minus 128. So, the over under 2.5, over minus 60, competitive fight. But Luque moving up with the attrition he's taken, he's had some real clunkers. He's going to be the more experienced guy, the guy that's been in with way better. But Gore is a bulldog. He's not Stephen Hawking. So if he takes his direction from his corner and executes, his legs, his jiu-jitsu game, and his power and quickness should overwhelm Luque here. We took my email or my tweets were Gore minus 112. So we're ahead of the market as I expected. When it was 112, I missed him as an underdog, but I wasn't going to miss him anymore. And that's why I pop it out there immediately so people can choose to see that and do what they got to do. So we're with Gore, the younger guy. How much younger? Well, only 2 years. But again, Luque's combination of who he's been in with, the damage he's taken, stepping up in weight now for his second fight, and he looked great in his first 185-pound fight. I just think Gore and his corner are in a good spot here.
And we always tell people shop around, right? But you mentioned, I think you said over-under on this fight was 2.5 is what you had right now?
I have 1.5 over minus 170.
Okay, I misheard you. I thought you said 2. Because, yeah, it's over 1.5. Minus 175 to the over is what we're looking at there. I thought I heard a 2.5 in there.
I could have easily said that.
And so I was like, ooh, shop that around, because I was going to ask you, which one do you like more, 1.5 or 2.5?
Thanks for covering me. You can look. I can look at it and it says 1, and I say 2. So thank you.
I'm with you on that. Dante Johnson and Eric Meconico, two United States fighters here.
Yeah, so like Gore, Meconico comes from the MMA lab here in Phoenix, and I get to watch him. He is mentored, as is Gore, by Jared Cannonier, and they're getting a really good camp of larger-bodied men at the MMA lab now.
And these are middleweight fighters, too. So
yeah, these are 185-pounders. Meconico's lost his last few and really needs a win. Here, we're going to get his best effort. And if he comes to be first and can walk into this young powder keg of dynamite, I think he stands a great chance. But the kid he's fighting is a beast, Dante Johnson. Little powder keg of TNT, baby. He's small, he's willing, he's fast, and he's going to go out there and try and take Meconico's head off. So this can be a fight. It's going to be a fight you want to watch. Meconico's 4 inches the larger man, but Dante Johnson is 9 years younger. That equates to roughly a 65, 68% win rate if you just blindly take the younger man. So there's advantage in being young. They're both left-handers, which is very interesting because Dante Johnson's not as developed as Meconico, and lefty on lefty means that there can be some left kicks right under the right elbow, and we'll see the longer man might have advantage there. So Meconico opens a plus 280. Now he's only plus what? 190?
Yeah, no, plus 215 right now on DraftKings.
Plus 215, yeah. So he's gone down a little bit. Interesting fight. Definitely 1.5 over minus 175 there, Steve.
Minus 166 to the over right now.
Yeah, I think I like the over in this fight. I don't think Dante Johnson, if he does get Meconico out, it's late. And if it goes to decision, Meconico could fire well for himself. Thank you.
In case you need that, Lou.
Way to go.
I don't need you struggling out there as well, right, as we go into it. Yeah, then you got Charles Johnson, who I've seen fight several times here in a prelim fight here coming up. I know he lost his last fight. I do remember that. But he's fighting somebody named Eduardo Chapelin from Brazil. Charles Johnson is the favorite here in this catchweight bout. My biggest question here is I had to look it up. What's a catchweight bout?
Just kidding. The water worked. Thank you so much, Ethan. Catchweight means, hey, we got this. Listen, Charles Johnson, you lost your opponent. You can either choose to fight and help the UFC out because we need to save this spot, on the production. We got a short notice kid coming in. Can't make 135, but he'll do it at 140. Can you do? Yep, catch weight. We agree. That means they both have agreed, both camps and the UFC, to allow the fight to be competed at somewhere higher than what Johnson fights at, which is 125.
Okay.
So that it's probably a 135-pound fight, honestly, which is easier for both men to make weight. Chaplin comes in, he makes his weight because he's coming off the couch, okay? He's trying to get in the UFC. Johnson's very uneven. And if you look at the pricing on this fight,
well, Johnson Johnson right now is a 122 favorite.
Yeah, that's a short favorite. This whoever this kid is,
for an off the couch kind of guy, right?
Yeah, whoever this kid is, Chaupin, and in his picture in the UFC, he's smiling. He's like he's like wacky.
It looks like his high school. Looks like a high school photo or something. Is what it looks like, and it's faded off just a little bit and stuff. Things to that. But yeah, I agree. That's what I was going to ask you. Was this is obviously an add-on fight? An add-on fighter into this
short notice,
and that is a low number, I thought, for Johnson.
It is, but Johnson's uneven, and if you're willing and you stand there and you're going to come at him past 5 minutes, he can shell up. But if he can get out there and be long and start his 1-2 kick, then he can be confident. So I don't know enough about Chaplin to. Outside of what I'm reading in the lines, if anything, maybe I see this going to decision. What's the 2.5 over?
2.5 minus 195 to the over.
Yeah, that's an easy over. I'd maybe fight goes to decision and take a little off that 190.
Hey, exactly for that fight. Next up, we got a welterweight bout. Chidi and I knew it. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. I was just you were talking a second ago. I was like Njokiani, and then I look at it right before I say it, and blah 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 blah. Joel Alvarez is his opponent into this welterweight bout. Alvarez is a 325 favorite right now over Chidi in this fight.
Yeah, Alvarez comes in on short notice too. Chidi lost his original opponent here. Alvarez steps up. Chidi's like, holy shit. I got a worse opponent with this guy than I had in the first guy, which is the truth. Alvarez, it's interesting. I've always been critical of Alvarez because he started at 155 and he could hardly make weight. He would miss all the time because he's a bully and he didn't want to fight guys his own size. I chimed at him to move to 170 for a long time. He's been there for a couple fights and shown himself to be okay. He takes this on short notice. And in this fight, Njokuani, the natural 170er, oh, by the way, Njokuani used to fight at 85. When they got him disciplined enough to fight at 170, his career really started to take off. So Njokuani's an 85er fighting at 70. Alvarez is a guy who wanted to fight at 55 because he's got a little teeny tiny, eensy, skeensy huevos. And so I got a chip against Alvarez a little bit. I think he's kind of a bully. The issue with Njokuani is he don't like to be bullied. If Alvarez can stay there into the middle of the second round and show Chidi that he ain't going anywhere, this should be a really good fight that I think eventually Alvarez can win. But Chidi is very live in this fight because of his size. He's tasted the power of bigger men and the short notice nature of Alvarez.
The over under 1.5 on this fight to the over minus 140 to the over coming into this one as well. So you just kind of said what the numbers are showing as well. If you can get there to that middle of that round there, turn into an interesting fight as you go. And that's the ending of the prelims here, which gets us into the main event card here, 6 p.m. here from Philadelphia. Xfinity Mobile Arena here for this UFC 330. Edson Barboza and Esteban Ribovics. Argentina and Brazil fighters here.
Right. But Ribovics fights out of Killcliff in Florida. So it's not like he's got any real travel. And he fights killers there, and he's 10 years the younger man over a guy in Barboza that has gone between 45 now up to 55. Barboza is a GOAT and an OG Brazilian mixed martial artist. I can't respect the guy enough or give him as the accolades he deserves. He's fought everyone. He's had a 15-year career in the UFC, longer than that in professional fighting. The guy is a pure professional fighter, but he's 40 and he's in against a kid that's 30, that's faster, younger, and even though Ribovic's going to be giving away some length, he's been in with a capable enough set of adversary that he's more than ready for this. This fight won't go the distance. I think Ribovics will finish this fight probably in the first round.
Well, interesting you say that. Over under 1.5 plus 100 to the under in this fight. Right now is the
money
number.
Taking the under. I think that's a fair bet. That would be a good bet.
The other side of it is, what did Ribovics open at here in this fight, out of curiosity?
He opened at plus 240. Yeah, Barboza came the minus 300 favorite.
Okay,
now he's the plus 300.
I wasn't sure if I was seeing that right or not,
because
he's minus 650 right now on top of that. So big switch here in the money. What you're talking about?
I reported that on Bout Business because I got my.
Is that where I heard it from? Okay, because I was like, I have a note here
on Sneak Tea.
Yeah, Sneak Tea. Because I had that note, and I was like, did I write that down right?
Yeah, that's just a mistake, and you'll get that. Bet Online will make that, and then what they'll do is they'll get a couple of pretty sizable bets of me, and they'll say, "Whoa."
Yeah, we need to change this, or we're going to be out of business.
Sometimes that's me. I just am asleep at some. You never know when they're going to put these numbers out, for crying out loud.
Yeah, right. A different diet. Just
I'm
throw
looking,
them out
though.
there.
Believe me, I'm looking.
Abdul Malik against Dustin Stoltzfus.
Yeah,
middleweight fight.
Yeah, Stoltzfus is from Pennsylvania, and Abdul Malik from Maryland. So I say that because we're in Philly for these fights, and each guy's going to have some fans there for him. The unfortunate thing for Stoltzfus is that his fans are going to watch him get completely mowed down, and Abdul Malik's fans are going to have a great night, go out, drink margaritas, because he's going to just pulverize. Stoltzfus is only there for the encouragement and frenzy of the crowd into these next few fights.
Yeah, he is a big favorite. 675 favorite for Abdul Malik. Going to his over-under 1.5 minus 160 to the over. Going into this one right now as well.
Stoltzfus is tough and durable. Abdul Malik may not get him out of there before 1.5, but this fight is designed for Abdul Malik to look good.
Jalen Taylor against Fernandez here. Brazil, United States fighter, battling it out. Turner is the early favorite here, minus 155.
Jalen Turner and Kyle Fernandez. A good fight. Turner opened 260s, way less than that now. Kyle Fernandez never been knocked out. Turner uneven, retired, came back out of retirement. Where's his head? They call him the tarantula. Should be called Daddy Longlegs because he's a really, really unusually long for his weight class. He's 6'3" for 155er. So Kyle Fernandez is going to have to get inside that reach, do his work. And Turner going to try and keep him on the outside and punish him on his way in. Should be a great fight. Maybe lean to Fernandez here, Nova União, Brazilian.
Yeah, plus 130 for Fernandez right now. Over under in this fight, 1.5. Minus 145 to the under, which is what you just touched on and you're about to say.
Fernandez never been finished.
Yeah,
so
and it's under.
This fight ain't going under.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it's going under.
Yeah, so that's what I was noticing there when you were talking. Like, interesting under number right there as well. Then you've got a lady fight here coming up. Mackenzie Dern, who's the champion coming into this. Gillian Robertson as well, battling this out. Canada, Brazil. Should be a good fight, even though Dern is a minus 220 favorite here. But tell us about this.
Yeah, Dern opened minus 250, and it's kind of gone a little back and forth.
218 right now, just as an update.
Yeah, Gillian Robertson from Canada, a very strong grappler, tough as nails, determined as all get out, has some striking, but she's primarily a grappler. She's won her last 5 in a row against good competition, solid competition, but she steps way up in class in this fight. And Dern, who she gets, is a gal that when she was 6 years old was in jiu-jitsu competitions in Brazil getting gold medals. Her lineage of Brazilian jiu-jitsu prowess is unquestioned. Her dad, Wellington Mara, was a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu savant, and she has carried that into the UFC where she couldn't strike or wrestle a lick. She's now since developed very good hands with Jason Perillo. She's a capable, competent champion, and everywhere this fight goes, she outclasses Robertson, who has not been in a 5-round fight before, nor has she experienced this kind of, elite level of competition. So Dern, I believe, is a value, even though this fight is going to be a 5-round pillow fight. It will go to decision, and I think it's going to be really, really difficult for Robertson to win, because what the UFC's design is for Dern to fight Weili Zhang. Zhang will move down from 125 to 15 to face Dern before the end of the year in a championship fight that to the UFC and Paramount signifies the most amount of interest on that fight. And I have to handicap that way now under this new Paramount UFC situation.
Yeah, over-under's 3.5 on this, minus 220 to the over for that perspective. There for Dern is
Dern could submit Robertson late. If Robertson thinks she can go to the ground with Dern, she'll get submitted, and if she stands up, she'll get sliced. So the slower death is stand up, because Dern isn't overly impressive with her stand up. Fortunate for her, she gets somebody that has very little stand up.
That's for the belt there, and then we get the championship belt as well. Islam Makhachev here against the Irishman out there, Ian Machado Gary, battling it out in the main card. Makhachev is a fairly decent favorite here. Let me get you the updated number as we're looking at it. Minus 340 for Makhachev here in this welterweight title bout.
Take back on Gary is what?
Plus 270.
270, okay. Listen, this is a very, very interesting fight. Makhachev trying to go down in history as the GOAT and untouchable and all. But Makhachev won and did most of his damage at 55. It was only recently that he went to 170 and won the belt. And when he did against a relatively undersized Jack Della Maddalena that he was physically similar to. Makhachev is stupid strong. He doesn't take a day off. He's totally dedicated. He's a Russian vice grip wrestler with fluidity of hands, able to evade incoming strikes, and a granite chin. He's arguably the best fighter living today, and I think outside of John Jones, because he is inactive, Makhachev is the man. However, in this draw and in this situation, this is as bad a situation as Makhachev could draw into. Why? Because he's fighting a 170er that walks around at 205. And as a matter of fact, once Gary weighs 170, he'll hit the cage at 198. That's how much weight and he's long, he's tall, he's fast, he's athletic. He's fought everyone at 170, bigger than him and smaller. Prates, Leon Edwards, and he got beat by Rachmanov in a very, very close fight. And Rachmanov's a 6'5" Russian killer. And so what I'm trying to get at is that the way for Gary to win this fight is to utilize his speed, athleticism, and have enough power in his punches and his kicks to keep Makhachev on the outside. He's going to have to be an absolute
Matador. Yeah.
He's going to have to be the Matador, because Makhachev's going to come after him. And after a round or two, if Makhachev can't get onto him or isn't strong enough to take him down, then Makhachev's going to get desperate. And then that's when it's going to open up for Gary. Now, we have already made parlay bets into Makhachev, where I have a Makhachev bet that looks like 2 units on Makhachev to win like 2.4 units. That's a bet that's made, and that's over here. Yesterday, I released Ian Gary plus 9.5 points minus 120. It was released on Twitter.
And that's what it is on DraftKings right now.
And I used 2-unit bet on that. I can tell you personally, that'll be a much more substantial bet for me. This is one of the best bets I think I've seen in many, many years in UFC. This 9.5 is mispriced. I believe it goes to decision. I believe it's a competitive decision. And I think that Gary could win this fight. The way he can win it is just as I explained. Now, does Makhachev eventually tackle him, get him against the fence, take him down and rub him all over the mat? That's what his plan is. I don't believe that's going to happen. I just don't. And so then do you take a couple of pennies and put it on Gary? If you don't have the Makhachev bet that I've released to my clients, you do, because that's how I feel about the fight now. Obviously, we hold that Makhachev, so I'm going to try and win them both. I'm going to try and get Makhachev to win a real tight decision, and then Daddy gets Makhachev and the points.
You do that beautifully when you split those types of things up over time. Over under on the rounds here. 4.5 minus 175 to the over as well.
It's a decision.
So people
they're telling you it's going to decision,
yeah.
Yet they're going to give you 9.5 points. That means that Makhachev's going to have to win 5-0 on all 3 cards, or on one guy's card with the other 2 4-1. I believe Gary. Again, he's going to be the biggest, most real 170er that Makhachev has faced to date. And let's not forget, at 155, when Volkanovski in 2023 moved up, that fight went to decision. That was a really, really tough competitive fight. Now, Volkanovski's sawed-off little tough Aussie wrestler, but that ain't Ian Gary, a 6'3" long athletic Irishman with plenty of lip. I don't like Gary, and I don't like Paddy Pimblett, but we bet Paddy Pimblett a few weeks ago worked well, and we're going to bet this Gary with those points this week.
Yeah, 9.5 points.
And no one's getting this. If they didn't see it on Twitter last night, TME listeners are getting this now because I'm going to release it at 2:00 today on VSiN. So
yeah, and that's where you'll start to see. We don't move markets yet here on this show. We're working towards doing that.
I don't know that I move markets. We're not interested.
No, but
in
I'm talking
markets.
about Visa. I'm talking about Visa.
I'm just interested in getting that 9.5 before that goes away.
And it's right there right now. That's why I told you guys, because you released it yesterday, and a lot of times you release something, and even if you check it, I'm not saying it's necessarily you doing it, but when you release something and a number, literally like 2 hours later, I'll go in and double check it, and it's already moved off of it. It's still at that plus 9.5, minus 120 right now out there. That's why I made that to you, because when Lou gets, I'm just telling you, when Lou gets on that Visa later, people are going to start jumping on that number. Well, I'll track it, Lou. I'll prove it to you. It happens.
If they do, whoop-de-doo, as Archie Bunker used to say.
No, I just tell people, get on it if you're interested.
$1.50 will get you a cup of coffee.
Tell all your people out there, your friends at the water cooler today, you like that number and looks smart here as that number moves around later on and everything. Lou comes in on Thursdays, folks.